For a long time, Scootaloo has been the most underplayed character from the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Ever since the beginning, there have been episodes that have centered on either Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, or the CMC as a whole, where Scootaloo was left in the shadows for her to be ridiculed by the fanbase due to a line on an episode that compared her to a farm animal. Thankfully, after time has gone by, many bronies, including myself, have been begging for a Scootaloo-centered episode. Finally, we not only get this one, but also one of the most important aspects of her motivation. The new writer for this episode knows exactly what to give us, and boy does it live up to its potential.
Well, I have to say that it's about time Scootaloo had her own episode. Although, I was hoping that this episode would result into Scootaloo's background, like where she lived, who her parents are. But this episode was good. Who doesn't enjoy camping? I myself have done it a few times. The only thing I don't like about it is the packing and the unpacking multiple times. I feel so bad for Sweetie Belle in this episode.
In attempts to impress and spend time with Rainbow Dash, Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle decide to go on a camping trip with Apple Bloom and her sister over the weekend. Each CMC has their companions, and Scootaloo has Dash as her sleeping buddy. Over the course of their travels, however, Scootaloo gets anxious and tries to hold in all her true feelings from anything she feels gets in her way to impress Dash. This makes things very hard for Scootaloo as Rainbow tells ghost stories. This, of course, frightens Scootaloo, but refuses to tell anyone about her fears overnight, and thus causing her to have a huge lack of sleep. Things get more problematic with Scootaloo the more she holds in her true feelings.
In my opinion, the best part of camping is telling stories around the campfire. Scary or non-scary, and it goes better when you have s'mores. Anyways, like most children, they can be scared of scary stories resulting fears that create monsters under the bed or the boogeyman in the closet. Scootaloo's fears seem to get the best of her, and the only one who notices is Applejack. I think Scootaloo could have gone to her, but she wanted to be tough like Rainbow Dash. In fact, I actually expected Rainbow Dash to notice Scootaloo's nervousness.
I never had the experience of camping, but I can say it is easy for a child to be scared of a ghost story, and it clearly shows with Scootaloo. The whole sceneries with her nightmare sequences are very convincing and pretty creative. I also love how they threw in the trees from the Giggle at the Ghosties for the surrealism, along with the subtle wave effects for the spooky atmosphere. It can really show you how you feel for Scootaloo when she intends to hide her fears for Dash. All the pressure, all the anxiousness she goes through until it leads up to her final confession.
I'm so sorry, Rainbow Dash. I just wanted you to hang out with me and see how cool I was so you'd take me under your wing, teach me everything you know, and become like my big sister. But then you started telling those spooky stories and I got scared. I thought I heard the headless horse, so I ran out here by myself and... well, I guess you know the rest. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something, but if you ever tell any pony else, I'm gonna deny it. First time I heard those stories, I was scared too. You were? Sure. I mean, I got over it because I realized pretty quick that if there was such thing as a headless horse, I could totally take it on. So, you're looking for some pony to take you under their wing, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might be up for something like that. Really? As long as you don't go falling into any more rivers in the middle of the night. It's a deal.
I really think what was great about this was that the teacher in this episode was Luna instead of Celestia. She teaches Scootaloo that fears are things to face and not run away from. Otherwise that fear grows and you'll always be afraid. What Scootaloo fears is her impressions with Rainbow Dash and not really the ghost stories. But there's still a natural sense to Scootaloo on the ghost stories that lead up to her true conflict.
As addressed before in the Crystal Empire, a fear that you stumble upon in life is more realistic than what is typically displayed in cartoons. It's an open chance to treat kids as adults and give them something more to think about, especially in their own lives and what issues they can relate to from reality in the cartoon. This episode takes a further depth into this direction, and I love that. I also love that Luna makes an appearance in the episode. We haven't seen her in a while, even with her screen time in the Crystal Empire. It's also interesting that we see that Luna is capable of diving into people's dreams to provide a lesson and ensure comfort. Just comes to show that she can teach just like Princess Celestia.
Speaking of Celestia, has anyone noticed she's not receiving any letters from ponies anymore? I hope she doesn't banish anyone to the moon.
Yeah, it's strange that the more recent episodes have had a lack of moral narration, but I guess you can establish that there are other ways to learn lessons from the show instead of morally addressing the subject. But that doesn't subdue anything best here. This episode has been the most touching and emotionally engaging behind Scootaloo, especially for a first on her. It establishes her prime motivation with what she's been striving for, and I hope to see more of her at this point.
I actually hope to see an episode that would center on her family or relatives. We see ones with Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom, but not Scootaloo. In fact, we never heard any family mentions of the other Pegasus ponies. Scootaloo, Rainbow Dash, and even Fluttershy. We never hear relatives from them. Where did they come from?
Well, this isn't the first time that was brought up, but I hope for more answers on that and more Scootaloo soon. But until next time, this is Golden Fox.
And I'm Mytokyokitty.
And thank you for listening.
Hey, wanna make s'mores?
We could if we had some more chocolate.
I was hungry.